This week on The Splash, we protect ourselves against a common illness. Then we get the facts on vaping. And later, a pretty picture of joy in our hometown. The Splash is a production of Civic Center TV. We're a news magazine that covers everything from local news to feature stories. All so that we can bring you the latest from the greater West Bloomfield area. And now, let's dive into The Splash.
Hi, thank you for being with us on The Splash. I'm Brooke Allen. The fall and winter seasons bring many diseases and illnesses, and some can be extremely dangerous. We sent reporter Tyler Kieft out to see how West Bloomfield and a local organization are helping residents keep healthy all season long.
A common disease can quickly become deadly, which is why West Bloomfield Township partnered with Alana's foundation to help provide residents with preventative measures. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the peak of flu season occurs in the months of December through February, which is why West Bloomfield and Alana's foundation urged members of our community to get out ahead of this year's flu early with free vaccinations.
The flu is one of the most contagious diseases that businesses and individuals and families are confronted with annually. The best way to prevent the flu from entering your household is the flu shot. It's not perfect, but it is the best protection against the flu that is available. What the flu shot does is it builds immunities in your system against the particular viruses that are anticipated to be part of the flu strain that comes into the States every given year. When you don't have the flu shot, your body is more vulnerable because it hasn't developed those immunities to those viruses. People ask, why do I need it every year? And that is because it is a very smart virus. It mutates, it changes, it develops its own ways around the immunities your system has built.
While many people do get their flu shot every year as suggested, some tend to shy away with fears of contracting the flu virus itself in the process, a worry professionals urge should not be so.
One of the most common misconceptions about the flu vaccine is that it can give you the flu. The flu vaccine that is currently being provided in the United States cannot give you the flu. It is a dead virus. But achy muscles, fatigue, slight fever, usually 100 or less, that lasts a day or two is normal. Some people mistake that for the flu.
Getting the flu vaccination every year is the best way to protect against this deadly virus, and it is suggested you get vaccinated before peak season, when you are interacting with many potentially ill people.
It takes 2 weeks after that flu shot is given to you for your immunities to build. So I always recommend that you do it before all the holiday festivities begin.
You're going to want to get your flu shot early. As was mentioned, it takes about 2 weeks for that immunization to take its full effect. For more information on when and where you can get your flu shot, visit Alana's Foundation's website or contact your physician. From West Bloomfield Township Hall, I'm Tyler Kieft, reporting for The Splash.
And to find out more, you can visit civiccentertv.com/flu. As vapes become more common in our society, they begin to be used by people of a variety of ages. And we recently sent reporter Andrea Petrus out to learn more about vaping's effect on our community.
Think vaping is safe? Think again. The Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition teamed up with the Police Department and Henry Ford West Bloomfield to host a panel discussion about the effects of vaping in our community.
Most people, particularly younger people, are very aware what these vaping devices and products are, but there's a growing concern about their abuse and potential for abuse in our community.
The guest panel, including local law enforcement and medical professionals, shared their expertise on the matter to help the community understand the health risks and legal issues surrounding vaping.
Vaping is on the rise. People need to become aware of it. It is highly addictive, whether it's nicotine or marijuana, and education is power. So the more you learn and the more you know, the better informed decisions you can make.
Our school resource officer, Detective Katie Rocher, will be on the panel discussion tonight. And again, some of this, the momentum for asking our township officials to amend our ordinance regarding vaping devices came from our school resource officer and from some of our schools, because concerns about the proliferation of these kind of devices and their use in the community by minors.
Concerned parents and their children filled the hall. and the standing room only crowd came prepared with questions about the epidemic in high schools and the symptoms of abuse.
It's very hard for some parents to tell if their kids are in fact doing it because of the discrete nature of the new kind of devices, and the kids don't realize it's much more addictive, there's much more nicotine than regular cigarettes, and it's really of great concern. So I'm here to both learn about some strategies of how to deal with it with my daughter and her circle of friends, but also separate some of the rumors from the fiction and some of the facts about the devices themselves.
The West Bloomfield Police Department also came prepared with examples of the newer, more sophisticated and discreet devices parents may come across.
That's a vape pen, and it looks like a set of keys when it's close.
And I think it's a kind of an eye-opener to many people about the concerns and how potent these things, you don't really know what you're getting when you inhale one of these devices, and it's not well regulated. The FDA is starting to take more of an active role in regulating these devices and concerning about, because they're wild proliferation. Like 5 years ago, you barely heard of these things, and now you hear about them all the time.
One of my concerns is it seems like kids as young as 14 or 15 can readily get these devices. And then again, I want the whole addictive nature to be described, that if a kid just does a few hits off the highly concentrated jewel, they can essentially become addicted to nicotine or tobacco, and then that presents a whole set of other problems as well.
All of my life, we've had this issue about trying to get people to quit smoking. And there's people that advocate that, well, this is a better way to smoke, if you will, or to use nicotine. It still has some downfalls to it. So that's why these presentations are important, because I think most parents, and particularly young people, will find it very informative.
Community members, if they join their local drug prevention coalition or at least sign up for emails, then they'll be aware of programs like this in the community that they can attend. Even if there isn't a program in their own community, it's likely that there's a program similar to it in a neighboring community.
Reporting for The Splash, I'm Andrea Petrus.
And for more information, feel free to stop by our website at civiccentertv.com/vaping. Coming up, we enjoy some lovely art at Henry Ford West Bloomfield, and then a new episode of Sidewalk Talk.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV. And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
And welcome back to The Splash. I'm Brooke Allen. Thank you for being with us. Henry Ford West Bloomfield has decided to make a trip to the hospital just a bit more enjoyable and calming with its Healing Arts program. Reporter Ryan Youngglove recently got an inside look.
Every second Tuesday of the month in the demonstration kitchen located at Henry Ford Hospital here in West Bloomfield, a gallery talk is held. A docent from the Detroit Institute of Arts comes in and gives a presentation on numerous art-related topics to the community, sharing knowledge and history of some of their art.
Every second Tuesday of the month, we do a different DIA talk at West Bloomfield Hospital. We have 17 different topics at the DIA that we bring to the community. The one that we're doing today involves women photographers. And women photographers, particularly in the mid-1800s, were very instrumental in bringing forward the art of photography and thinking of photography as an art. So we have, as I said, 17 different topics on love, on storytelling, on any number of topics. And today's topic involves women photographers. And following the talk, we do a 1 o'clock art walk, which is not related to the DIA. It's the hospital's art. So this is what we're doing. We gather the second Tuesday of every month.
The Henry Ford Hospital also has the Healing Arts program, where they introduce art to the patients in many forms, with the idea of the art being able to provide a form of stress reliever and a time to ease their minds and be creative.
So we're very fortunate enough to have a Healing Arts program here at Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital. The DIA Gallery Talks are one piece of that Healing Arts program, but we also provide music as well as healing art kits. We have other forms of art that help us bring our patients calmness and maybe make them less stressed. So for instance, we're able to deliver healing art kits to our patients. These are journal kits or watercolor kits. Some are calligraphy kits, and it just gives patients a time to take their mind off of maybe the illness that they have or what's happening with them in terms of why they're here, and gives them time to just kind of reflect, step back, be creative. So those are a few parts of our Healing Arts program.
This is Ryan Younglove reporting for The Splash.
For more information, you can visit civiccentertv.com/healingarts. And now it's time for Sidewalk Talk, where reporter Samana Sheikh asks the people of Greater West Bloomfield an interesting question about their favorite songs.
Whenever I'm in a bad mood, I love to pump up DMX and get my mood going. What about you? What music gets you in that mood?
Aretha Franklin.
I love Aretha.
I would put Aretha Franklin, all her songs on, just to get that beat going and the upbeat and empowering women. And
definitely.
Yeah.
We need that nowadays.
Drake. I love Drake so much. I for sure put on something hype, like Headlines or like Mob Ties or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Me and my friends listen to a bunch of funny songs, so yeah, that cheers me up sometimes.
Can you give me an example of one of the funny songs?
One of them was called the Waffle Song.
Okay.
And we made like videos of it, of us dancing to them, and it was really fun.
I'm a big NSYNC fan, a little 90s pop.
I think I'd have to say some really hype Bollywood music. Nothing like good old-fashioned Bollywood music to get your mood up.
If you're having a bad day, what's some music that you just put on as a pick-me-up?
Shakira, I think, yes. A little bit of a Latin beat can pep anyone up, I think, yes.
And that's my workout music. The Hips Don't Lie make me go.
Oh, no way. Great tune.
Bro, obviously I'd play Travis Scott, I'd play some Drake, Lil Wayne, anyone that's hype, because I don't want to listen to sad music. That's just make me even more sad. It was just hype music, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And some Akon, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah, obviously, Akon. Got to put some of that, old type music, yeah.
Well, actually, I try to play the piano myself. It's not always so uplifting, especially those who are around me, but I like to play Chopin waltzes and sometimes jazz, ragtime, that kind of thing really picks up my spirits.
Maybe you can teach me how to play the piano.
After I learn.
Remember, if you ever see us on the streets of West Bloomfield, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, or Kego Harbor, stop by and be a part of Sidewalk Talk.
For me, it is always Copacabana by Barry Manilow. And for more episodes of Sidewalk Talk on demand, visit civiccentertv.com/Sidewalk Talk. And now it's time for the Civic Center TV event update, where we provide you with upcoming events around Greater West Bloomfield. And for more events coming up, visit civiccentertv.com/events. Henry's Market on Main, Wednesdays now through November 14th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital. This is where you can buy fresh, locally grown produce and fresh, healthy food, including baked goods, as well as flowers and seedlings. Food samples are available, and specially invited chefs demonstrate preparing healthy meals. The event is free. For more information, you can contact Kelsey Bray at 248-328-0825. Safe Talk training, October 25th from 8:45 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Jewish Family Service in West Bloomfield. Here you will learn to respond to situations where suicidal thoughts may be present and apply the tell, ask, listen, and keep safe or talk method. This free training is open to the public for anyone ages 15 and over. No prior experience or attendance is necessary to participate. For more information on this and other sessions, call 248-406-0076. West Bloomfield Lakers football in pre-district round playoff game happening Friday, October 26th. 89.3 WBLD, the all-new Lakes FM. Dave Scott and Tyler Keefe with live coverage and analysis. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. and our coverage begins at 5:30 p.m. Plus, there will be a live post-game show after the final whistle. You can listen live on 89.3 WBLD and online at lakesfm.com and on Civic Center TV and WBTV. Monster Mash at the Orchard Mall, October 26th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is a great opportunity for kids 2 and above to have a safe, fun, and not-so-scary Halloween party right in the heart of our community. Dress up in your best costumes and maybe even win some fun prizes. Participate in a Halloween maze with treats, go on a Ghostbuster scavenger hunt, and munch on tasty cider and donuts. The cost of admission is $5. For more information, contact Kelly Woodley at 248-855-3330. Let's Talk, an ESL discussion group, Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, happening at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Anyone learning English or who wants to improve their skills is welcome during this English language discussion group. A tutor from the Oakland Literacy Council will facilitate the conversation and help all who attend become stronger with their English language skills. Feel free to drop in for all or part of the sessions. For more information, call 248-232-2290 or visit wblib.org. Share Support Group meets Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Henry Ford Maple Grove Center at West Bloomfield, 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Share concerns, have help and support from your peers, neighbors, and helpful experts. Address your needs, review ways to cope, and empower rather than enable your family members in the supportive adult group centered on adult addiction and recover education as well as family support. This group is offered only to those with 6 months or more of sobriety from alcohol or other drugs. For more information, call Lisa Kaplan at 248-661-6100. And that's this week's highlights. You can find out more events online at civiccentertv.com/events and everything else going on in the greater West Bloomfield area. And we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have our interview with Zachary Crawford. He's a West Bloomfield High School senior. That's coming right up.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Civic Center TV is your home for everything greater West Bloomfield. Here you can tune into community programming such as our weekly news magazine show, The Splash, as well as coverage of local events and meetings in Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, and West Bloomfield. You can also watch all of your local programming online anytime at civiccentertv.com. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Civic Center TV has gone social. Now it's easier than ever to watch, save, like, and share our videos online. See what's happening in your neighborhood, on the streets, and on the web at civiccentertv.com. Be a part of the conversation and get involved. We would love to hear from you. For links to our social media pages, visit us at our website or find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
And welcome back. We are joined by Zachary Crawford. He is a West Bloomfield High School senior. And Zachary, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I think you're missing school right now.
Oh, yeah, just just a little bit.
That's okay.
But it's all worth it. Mm-hmm.
So, some pretty exciting news.
Yes.
So, you are going to be doing something pretty special on Thanksgiving.
Yes, I will be marching in the 2018 Macy's Great American Marching Band in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Okay, so tell me how that came about.
So that came about basically by watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade last year. I saw the Macy's Great American Marching Band on TV, and I was like, how do I join that? So later that day, I looked online. I found out that you could audition. So basically, from that moment, I started working on this 4-minute solo, And then in March of 2018, I went to the high school. The football field was covered in snow. I had to find the yard lines, clear a patch, and I marched around showing them that I could march forward, backwards, and then do slides, which is when we turn our feet, but we still face the front sideline. And then I also had to perform the 4-minute solo for them, which has then been posted to YouTube. And from there, I was accepted to march in about April.
Okay, so this kind of all started because you have a family tradition.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So every year, as much as I can remember, we've always gone down to downtown Detroit to watch any Thanksgiving Day parade. So we basically watched the Thanksgiving Day parade for as long as I can remember, and we've just been going downtown, hanging out in the morning, like really early. So it's just got me really excited to I was like. From watching it as a young child, I've always I want to do a parade somewhere. I just didn't know it was going to be New York.
So why not dream big, right?
Yeah, go big or go home.
Go big.
Yeah.
Okay, so what instrument do you play?
I play the alto sax.
Okay, so you play the alto sax.
Yes.
And this parade, well, we all know about the Macy's parade, but this band that you're going to be in on the Macy's parade is comprised of how many students?
It's comprised of 250 members, and of the 250 members, 185 of them are musicians, and then the rest are made up of the color guard and the banner carriers.
Okay, and this only started in what, 2006?
Yes, yeah. This is its 12th year marching the parade.
Okay, and so pretty interesting, the songs you'll be playing this year.
Oh, yes. The songs we will be playing this year. When we march down 6th Avenue before we get to Herald Square and perform on TV, we will be performing Respect by Aretha Franklin, and then when we get to Herald Square, we will be performing Think by Aretha Franklin as well.
So a pretty interesting Motown connection.
Yeah, Motown connection.
Yeah, so do you know of any other Michigan students?
Right now, I know that on average, there are about 2 to 3 there will probably be about 2 to 3 other students from Michigan. I haven't heard of any students from Michigan right now. That's just because it's really hard to connect with all 250 band members, but I have connected to students from Maine, South Dakota, and California, just all over the country, and that's what I'm really excited for, is meeting everyone who has a love of band from all over the country.
So you did this on your own,
yes.
And it's kind of started because of your love of going to the America's Thanksgiving parade in Detroit with your family, so the family tradition.
Yes.
And so now you'll be experiencing this. Your whole family is going, you said.
Yeah.
So describe your week of Thanksgiving.
Okay, so the week of Thanksgiving for me begins, I fly out on the Friday before Thanksgiving, and then we start rehearsal on the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and then the Sunday before Thanksgiving is when the whole band is going to be there. We rehearse in the mornings, and then the afternoons will be city time in New York. So we will be going to explore the city of New York by seeing Radio City Music Hall, going to Ellen Stardust Cafe, and then Dave & Buster's, which is also local to New York. And then we will be doing all of these rehearsals that lead up to the Thanksgiving Day Parade, which I will have to get up at 1 a.m. to go and march, to go and rehearse with the networks beforehand. So we run through, think, and then we will be eating a very early 5:30 a.m. breakfast, and then bus back to the start of the parade, which is at 77th Street. And then we do the 3-mile march down as soon as we get the order.
Okay, and then how soon do you come back to Michigan?
I will be returning to Michigan the Saturday after Thanksgiving, because after Thanksgiving, I just want to get some time to explore New York City with my family, since that whole week they will be in New York, but it's really hard to see them because we'll all be scheduled so much, because also we'll be seeing Wicked, and then the Wednesday beforehand, we will be performing in Central Park with all the bands from around, all the bands that will be performing the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade do a performance in Central Park. So we will be performing amongst all of them, which is going to be really cool to see.
So I think you're going to have a pretty amazing Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And you're a senior.
Yes.
Okay, so real quick, tell me what your plans are for the future.
My plans are to go and study hospitality either at Michigan State University, which I'm still waiting to hear from, or the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, which has accepted me and put me in their honors college. So what I really want to go into is event planning, because that's just something I've really fallen in love with, especially recently because I planned the big pep assembly at the high school for homecoming, and that was a lot of fun because we had to time it out minute by minute to make sure that everything ran smoothly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we will all be watching the parade this year and looking for you. And I hope you have a great time. And thank you for sharing the story.
Thank you.
Your enthusiasm is just so awesome. And
thank you.
Happy early Thanksgiving.
Nice. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you so much. And again, we have been speaking with Zachary Crawford, West Bloomfield High School senior. And don't forget to watch for him during the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. And now it's time for Parenting on the Go, where Sheena Monin sits down with a local expert to help us learn how to avoid and resolve conflict. Hello and welcome to Parenting on the Go. I'm Sheena Monin, and joining me today is Kurt David, a counselor, author, and creator and producer of the TV show From Glory Days. His most recent book, titled The Change, is co-authored by some of the nation's leading authorities on change and transition. Thank you for being here with me today to talk about a really important topic. That's the topic of conflict resolution. We appreciate you joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Sheena. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about how conflict appears in our lives, what we can do about it, all the nitty-gritty nuts and bolts.
Yeah, well, first of all, like I tell people, I'm not here to tell people how to avoid conflict, right?
Okay.
I mean, conflict happens in life. We can try to avoid it, but bottom line, it's going to happen in our families. It's going to happen in work environments. What I found is that most conflict occurs not because of necessarily mean words or people saying things or actions. It's lack of expectations. In other words, it's a misunderstanding of an expectation that causes the conflict. And so looking at that as the source, that gives us an idea of, okay, how do we approach that then? What are things that we can do to help with that?
Wow, that's interesting to think about. I never really thought about setting the bar, setting the standard, changing your perspective in that manner. That's amazing. I would imagine most people aren't actually actively out there looking for conflict, correct?
Yeah, most people, you're right. Most people aren't. I mean, there might be a few that's they enjoy that kind of stuff, but you're right. In general, most people are not looking for conflict, but it might be a lack of expectation. I'll give you a very real example. My wife and I, we love each other dearly, but she had an expectation for me and expressed it to me, and I didn't hear it clearly, and as a result, we got into a conflict. And part of it was that we were able to clarify, oh, okay, you expected me to do this. I had an expectation in my mind, and it did not match. You can take that on any level, on a work level, with your kids. You know, the expectation, the clearer the expectation, the less chance of a conflict.
So first of all, you have to know yourself what your expectation is, and I think most people walk around probably aren't very self-aware, so it's important to be like, what am I expecting, and then learn how to communicate that pretty clearly, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
So what are some tips that you can give adults, children, coworkers, you name it, to try to help manage conflict that will invariably arise? Yeah,
and there's no question. It's going to happen. I mean, it's just going to happen. One of the first things is address it as soon as possible. In other words, if you and I were, you know, if at nighttime, if I'm getting ready to put my head on a pillow and go to sleep, and I notice in the corner of the bedroom that there is a fire in my wastebasket, would I literally go to sleep and just say, I'll deal with that in the morning? Of course not. And it's kind of that way with conflict. The longer you let conflict linger, the bigger that fire gets. And so one of the first things that anybody can do is address it as soon as possible. Now, there is a time and a place to kind of draw back, be reflective, and not say anything you might regret.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. But then that's part of the wisdom of knowing, boy, if I'm going to say something I might regret, let's wait. But the sooner you can address it, the sooner the conflict can be resolved, because conflict tends to grow and fester and change over time if you let it fester that way.
Wow, that's interesting to consider, because I think sometimes, at least for myself as well, I'm like, you know what, I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to talk about it. So we assume it's going to die down, but what you're saying is it probably will increase in that
Normally
moment.
not. Yeah, it's going to increase, exactly. And one of the next things you can do is affirm the relationship. In other words, before you start getting into resolving the conflict, talk about, hey, you know, you and I have been friends for a long time. This is really uncomfortable for me, but you know, this is something that came up, and I'd really like to work through it. By affirming that relationship, it sets the foundation. I can honestly say that if that doesn't happen, there's a very good chance the conflict isn't going to get resolved. Because you have to really lay that foundation of why that relationship is important before even getting into the conflict. And then typically the next step after that is to seek to understand. In other words, you know, you said this to me the other day, or you know, you got a little snippy with me, and I wasn't sure. you know, after you set that stage of affirming the relationship, I'm trying to understand why that happened. And typically in conflict, most of us want to do the opposite of that. We want to talk about why I'm mad, why I'm upset, what you did wrong, you know, how I didn't, this happened and I didn't expect it to happen. And that's the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do in order to resolve conflict.
Wow, this is all fascinating. For those watching who are like, this can help me, this can help my family, are there any resources out there that can help us to improve in this way?
Yeah, I think, you know, there's plenty of them, certainly depending on what your values are. It could be something with the family, it could be other family members, certainly people in the school. There's people trained in schools to help with conflict, and work industry as well. You know, your pastor or priest or whatever, religious affiliation. Certainly there's lots of people that are trained to help with this, a lot of great experts as a result. And so just seeking those people out. But the most important thing is understanding that conflict is going to happen. It's just how do I resolve it best?
Don't bury your head in the sand. It's going to happen. Let's handle it. Thank you very much for being here today. I love this topic, and I personally learned some new things.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Sheena.
And thank you for watching this episode of Parenting on the Go. If you would like to look up more helpful parenting tips, you can visit the West Bloomfield Youth Assistance website at wbyouthassistance.org.
For more episodes of Parenting on the Go, visit civiccentertv.com/parenting-to-go. And now it's time for our final segment, which is Person of the Week, where we honor people in the community inspiring or providing toward others. And this week it is Joyce Aird of Spirit of Grace Church's Cover Girls. Joyce's passion for knitting has grown exponentially over the course of her life. After moving to West Bloomfield, Joyce's love for her hobby grew into a desire to help other people with a friend she made in her knitting group at Spirit of Grace Church. The Cover Girls have worked tirelessly year after year to make quilts to send to Lutheran World Relief, a nonprofit that then sends these beacons of nurturing and care to people in need all across the world. Joyce enjoys the socialization of the Cover Girls, but also recognizes that she gets a strong sense of enjoyment making these quilts, knowing that they will bring warmth to people's bodies and hearts in some of the neediest places across the globe. Joyce's smile and friendliness lifts the spirits of her fellow Cover Girls, and it is these spirits that inspire them year in and year out to provide hundreds of quilts to those in great need of a little TLC. Joyce Aird is using her love of knitting to bring love to people around the globe, which is why she is our Person of the Week. And if you know someone who is making a positive difference, let us know and send an email to thesplash@civiccentertv.com. We want to congratulate and acknowledge those making a difference in our community, and we appreciate your suggestions. That's all for this week's show. You can watch new episodes Mondays at 5:30 p.m. at Civic Center TV on Comcast 15, AT&T 99, and online in HD at civiccentertv.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Civic Center TV. And for more Metro Detroit news, you can listen to Greg Bowman and I weekdays from 2 to 7 p.m. on WWJ Newsradio 950. And for all our friends in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, and West Bloomfield, I'm Brooke Allen. Thank you for watching The Splash.